Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Midnight Sports Talk, the talk show and podcast of Midnight Sports Today. We will be covering the University of Hawaii football program, and there's a lot of turmoil going on in the program right now, all revolving around head coach Todd Graham. So, once again, my name is Brock, and I apologize for my voice. I'm just getting over a bout of COVID. I want to talk about that real quick. So I'm a vaccinated person. I've gotten COVID twice in my life right now, and then in February of 2020, before the whole world shut down. And uh, if you're on the fence about getting vaccinated, I'm not here to push anything or any agenda like that. I'm just here to tell my testimony. When I had COVID the first time, I was in a really bad shape. The first night I really came down with it. I had the shivers. I barely could breathe. I remember I would have 3 blankets on me, a jacket, and long pants, and I would still be shivering, freezing cold. Even this is with the heater on. I could barely move. My body was weak. I needed help to go anywhere around the house, and it was just a really bad time for me. Now, I'm not gonna say it was all flowers and beautiful times. I had a pretty bad cough, just kind of getting everything out of my system. uh, I have congestion and things like that. That's why I sound the way I do. But physically, I'm able to do everything I need to get done, walk anywhere. I'm not shivering, anything like that. So, there definitely is a benefit for me personally. Again, I'm not trying to push anything, but if you're on the fence, I just want to give my personal testimony and talk about something that's so prevalent, especially headed into this next football season. In UH news, one of my favorite players in the Norm Chow era, Trayvon Henderson, had a chance to play this past weekend in the NFL for the Cincinnati Bengals. Taking the most of his opportunity, he returned a fumble recovery to the house for a touchdown. So just wanted to give a quick shout out to him. Like I said, he was one of the best, one of my favorite players, if not my favorite player during the Norm Chow era. He played cornerback for the University of Hawaii, and I'll never forget in the 2016 Hawaii Bowl, he took an interception back for a touchdown. I remember I was in Hayward, California at my auntie's house, and we are celebrating Christmas up there. And as we all know, the tradition in Christmas Eve is to watch the Hawaii Bowl. Now, Hawaii, since the 2007 season, that's when I first started watching. They only went to 2 bowl games since the Sugar Bowl season, and that those games are the 2008 Hawaii Bowl where Hawaii lost to Notre Dame, and the 2010 Hawaii Bowl where Hawaii lost to Todd Graham in Tulsa. So I, especially after the Norm Child years, I really didn't expect UH to win another bowl game. I was pretty down on the program, and they were playing Middle Tennessee State, and Middle Tennessee State was up 14-0 in the first quarter. UH came back to tie it, and Trayvon's interception, I'm not sure if it made it 21-14 or 28-14, one of those scores, but basically it swung momentum, and Hawaii just ran off and won the bowl game. And it's such a fun thing to see. And I'm very happy for Trayvon that he's doing well in the NFL. So I've been doing a series for Midnight Sports Today called Hawaii and Todd Graham, where I basically go over some of the issues that have sprung up this off season with the transfers and the allegations of verbal abuse and toxic culture within the program. So this will serve as kind of a 2.5 instead of a part three. We're just gonna kind of go over everything, talk about some new developments, and I'm just gonna share some of my thoughts and opinions. So Donna Mercado Kim, who is a Hawaii state senator, and I believe she was president of the Senate either currently or at one point. So she brought about this meeting because she said that she was receiving emails from players and from student athletes of various programs throughout the university about issues and such, and they wanted to discuss things such as the budget, the facilities, and then of course the football program because of said issues. So my takeaway, I'm gonna kind of break it down. So here's kind of my several takeaways. One is the head coach Todd Graham. The buck stops with him. And has he been an issue? Absolutely. I've been vocal about my support for Coach Graham. I do think that he is putting the program in a direction to find success. It's just maybe not the success that Hawaii fans want to see. The football program is an integral part of the community, in my opinion, and it's served as a point of joy and happiness for me, whether I'm at the game or watching it from home. One of the cool parts about it is that the program for a long time gave opportunities to Hawaii boys to go and play collegiate football in front of their families to get a proper education, a collegiate education, and really give them opportunities to advance their life, whether that be mentally, financially, so on and so forth. However, since June Jones left, there's kind of been this, how do you put it? Well, even during the Mackey years, it was there. But realistically, when recruiting became globalized, um, and Hawaii kids had an opportunity to kind of put their tape out there and had schools from the mainland really get a chance to look at them, there's been a kind of an exodus of Hawaii-born players to mainland universities, your Power Five conferences, so on and so forth, really capstone by Marcus Mariota to Oregon and Tua Tagovailoa to Alabama. And didn't really deal with that well, along with the Norm Chow hire. They were really just trying to plug in pieces here and there, and it just created a really bad brand of football. Um, Rolovich kind of brought back the local style with local players like Jason Matthew Sharsh and Darius Musa was under him, and so on and so forth. But there was still more of that mainland feel with players like Cole McDonald, Jojo Ward. I always forget his name. Um, Jared Smart, Nick Martiner, and so on and so forth. It's very hard to kind of keep that local talent pool in Hawaii because one, it's so small, but two, the best leave, right? And what remains is if you have a team full of them, it's just not Division One standard. Coach Graham recruiting strategy has been honestly to completely ignore the Hawaii market. Yes, they did offer St. Louis quarterback AJ Bianco a scholarship, but if you look at where the recruits are coming from, they're coming from the transfer portal, junior colleges, and so on and so forth, with very few players having ties to Hawaii. That's fine and all, except for the fact that now the local boys that were there, or Polynesian players such as Musau, Jonah Laulu, and others, are now leaving, which has really called to question the culture fit for Graham. And Graham, quite frankly, hasn't fit into the culture at all. There is an unverified comment from Coach Graham where he basically called Hawaii a third world country because he couldn't get Dr. Pepper. I don't know if that's true, but I'm inclined to believe it. And it's a really stupid comment. I tried to find a nice way to put it, but there's no other way to say it. I mean, come on now. You don't think there's Dr. Pepper in Hawaii just because there's not a vending machine near you with Dr. Pepper doesn't mean you can't go down to your local store, your local Foodland, Safeway, even your local gas station and grab a Dr. Pepper. Like, come on now. It just kind of shows the divide in his mindset with the islands. Kind of going about that, there's a clear divide between walk-on and scholarship players during Coach Graham's tenure. Leonard Lee, who was a walk-on player, practice squad player from Hawaii, stated in the hearing that Graham was basically the worst coach he ever played for. The way Graham removed him from the team was, well, he didn't really go out and say it, but it wasn't as a man, and the best way to put it. Lee also said that Graham has used verbal abuse, really bad language, and things like that against the players. This was kind of backed up by other testimony, along with RJ Hollis, who was a right tackle at the University of Hawaii during the Norm Chow and Rolovich years. Basically, he's a reporter for local network OC16, and he was saying that what he saw was players just out of it. They didn't want motivated to be there. They didn't want to be there, and that he's really brought the morale down. Graham has brought the morale down in the university and for the football team. Lee was kicked off the team this offseason because of a Twitter space that Hollis and former UH player and coach Daryl McBride Jr. hosted. Basically, and Lee was one of the players who openly criticized the program. And thus, Lee said that when he came into practice, basically his locker was cleaned out, his name tag was gone, he didn't meet with any of the coaches, and that's how he was told he was no longer a member of the team. I apologize for my voice. Again, just getting over this COVID. So that's something that Lee testified to in the hearing. Other testimonies have said that Graham has affected players' mental health, along with, again, creating a toxic work environment. So some new news, which kind of goes back to the meeting, is Donna McConnell Kim has recently come out and said that the Senate is willing to buy out Coach Graham's contract if reports of a toxic work environment and verbal abuse are found true. I'm going to get back to that in a little bit. Just want to let you guys know. But this kind of backs up a question made by one of the senators towards AD David Matlin, which was, if you had the money, would you buy out Coach Graham's contract? Now, I thought it was more just like a way to put Matlin kind of on the hot seat in the spot where Matlin defended his decision and said that he would back Graham. But I really didn't think the state was in a position to offer that kind of money due to the financial situation in Hawaii right now. But the fact that they said that they're willing to blow the money, I mean, it wouldn't just be 1.27 million to buy out his contract. You also got to think about his assistant coaches too, including his son Bo, who's the offensive coordinator for the University of Hawaii. How much would it be to buy out their contracts? And then you got to think about, not only are you buying out their contracts, you got to offer similar deals to the next guy coming in. So the next coach coming in is going to want, $800,000. He's want his staff is probably going to cost around $500,000 to $600,000 in total. Does the state of Hawaii really have these $2 to $3, possibly even $4 million in order to remove Graham and his coaching staff and implement a new coaching staff? Or would they just try to remove Graham and keep the rest of the coaching staff and promote within? Would they try to bring somebody in, but he's got to stick with that coaching staff? It sounds like a lot of false promises for a state that really doesn't have their affairs in order, which I want to kind of jump to right now, which is the other portion of the hearing that was discussed was the state of the facilities. Now, Kobe Wyatt, who is a player on the football team, he's a transfer from the University of Georgia. He plays tight end, really shined a light in a written testimony about the state of the program. Now, that's something I didn't like about the way this hearing was set up. It really seemed like it was meant to bash Graham and not address the other issues that are with the program. Now, I understand you do have to investigate Graham, and I support that fully. However, that wasn't what the sole meeting was. The whole meeting was to also discuss the budget and to discuss the facilities, and they were criticized Matlin for not having the numbers and the president of UH for not having the numbers. But at the same time, the only testimony they allowed to be oral and in person or Zoom was to attack Coach Graham and to attack the state of the program and to investigate the work culture of the program. So it seemed a little shady on that. But what Kobe Wyatt said is that the university basically doesn't have no money. They have a flooded weight room that they do not have the money to fix. That it seems like all the programs use football, basketball, men's and women's volleyball, men's volleyball, so on and so forth, right? And then they also can only serve scholarship players 2 meals a day instead of the standard 3 at other Division I universities. Along with that, it wasn't mentioned, but what I've seen from video is that there is no football area for the players. They got to eat inside Stan Sheriff Center, which is the basketball and volleyball arena for the University of Hawaii. Also, if they're only able to serve 2 meals a day, we also got to question what's the quality of food that these players are getting. They're not getting the top-notch nutritional meals that you would hope. They're probably getting things that you can buy in bulk from Costco or Walmart and things like that, which kind of troubles me when, Senator Kim is saying that the state is going to fund 1.2 million in order to remove Coach Graham. Do you have that kind of money? How would you break it down into installments? And more importantly, if you do have this money, why aren't you using it towards the program? there's a big issue in Hawaii right now when it comes to finances, and it's about the rail project. So to kind of give everybody a little bit of a rundown, there is a rapid transit project in Hawaii. It's a above ground rail program that is supposed to reduce traffic on the road and connect to all these spots, including UH Manoa and the site of Aloha Stadium. And the project has been in development hell for a long time. I think it got voted in 09 or 08, then started construction in 2011, I believe. I don't think they were remotely close to being done, nor do they have the kind of the breakdown to how they're going to power it, how they're going to fund it, how are they going to make money off of it, how are they going to pay for maintenance and things like that. And it's a financial problem for the state of Hawaii. So that's part of the reason why money has been so tight on a bunch of these other projects. And they don't even have the money to fix the weight room, but they say they have the money to buy out Graham. Like, there's a lot of shadiness that I'm not really appreciating out of this Senate hearing. One of the other issues that I have is it seems like they're trying to put the blame on Coach Graham in order to cover up the fact that they haven't been supplying the university with enough money to fix these facilities and to have a proper sports program. You know, if they're really concerned about the state of the program, I don't understand why a Senate hearing wasn't called during the Norm Chow era. I wasn't alive during this time, but I'm not sure if there was a Senate hearing called during the Fred Von Oppen era. Norm Chow was there's no way to put it nicely what he was. He was a bad coach for the University of Hawaii. I think he won 7 total football games around there. He only won 1 game in his second season. He was given 4 years for some reason, which I think the state didn't want to buy him out until completely necessary. It was very unclear why the state didn't remove him earlier. But if they were really concerned about the state of the program, I think they should have launched an inquiry, during his years. But was it because Aloha Stadium was running, so they had a revenue source? Was it because UH was consistently playing Power 5 opponents? Please excuse me. I apologize. Guess I'm just getting over COVID. Was it because UH was playing Ohio State on the road or Wisconsin on the road and getting $1.2 million checks from each university? I'm not sure, but I'm not saying Coach Graham is not to blame. Definitely he is, and a lot needs to be investigated. It just seems, again, like the Senate is hiding something, and I'm just not comfortable with it. Going back to Coach Graham, like I said, he's not blameless in anything. I remember there was I forget, either Coach Graham's wife or a parent DM'd the wife, or the wife DM'd the player's mom, who complained, basically said something about like, oh, sorry, your son wasn't good enough or didn't work hard enough. It was really distasteful, in my opinion. I'm not going to put that on Coach Graham. We can't control what our family members do, but it might shine some insight into the mindset of the household and also the mindset of the Grahams in general when it comes to the state of Hawaii, or to comes to football in general, things like that. Do they really consider, are they truly invested into this? Are they just using this to build their house in Portlock, or do they really care about the program? She's just tired of people attacking her husband. I'm not sure. But if they're not able to handle the criticisms, well, good luck, because not only is your husband the head coach, your son is the offensive coordinator. And quite frankly, the offense has been, well, horrible. There's no other way to put it. Bo Brown's play calling has been atrocious. His situational awareness also atrocious. The way he designs passing routes, again, atrocious. There's no other way to put it. If Coach Graham leaves, or if the Senate buys him out, who replaces him? Rich Miano, June Jones, they're both not working in coaching right now. Rich Miano is now a commentator for OC16, along with, he runs the Polynesian Bowl, or the Hula Bowl, I forget what it's called. But basically, it's like a high school football showcase. June Jones was the head coach of the TSL Conquerors for the Spring League. And before that, he was the head coach of the Houston Roughnecks of the XFL, where he went 5-0 with PJ Walker, who then became the backup quarterback for the Carolina Panthers. Would they be willing to step in? Would they be willing to come in? How much would they want? Could the state afford it? It would be kind of interesting to see. However, I don't think Graham is going anywhere anytime soon unless he is bought out. And again, I think the whole thing that they said that they'll buy Coach Graham out is it's fluff, because they weren't willing to buy out Norm Chow after 2 years. They don't have realistically any money to fix anything. They can't even feed the players 3 square meals a day. I know I keep repeating myself. I do not trust the Hawaii state legislature to get their house in order, being the fact that they haven't gotten anything in order in my lifetime, it feels like. Along with the fact that it did seem like the Senate hearing was a witch hunt. It did seem like it was trying to make, they honestly, what it seemed like was that they were trying to build a case against Graham to fire him with cause in order to not pay him any of his remaining salary, which again makes no sense to me, because it also doesn't seem the university has a plan in place to replace him. Hawaii, I hate to say it because I'm a diehard UH fan, Hawaii is not a destination that a lot of coaches want to come to. 1, it's very hard to win. 2, there's no money, clearly. 3, there's no stadium at the moment. It's a makeshift stadium at Clarence TC Ching. There's no plans to build the new stadium. I mean, there's plans, but there's no real solid dates or construction projects. There's drawings. There's not really anything kind of going down in the right now to say that the stadium can be completed within 2 to 3 years. Along with the fact recruiting to Hawaii is incredibly challenging, especially in the Mountain West Conference. You got to think about that. 1, in the Mountain West, you got to compete against programs like Boise State, Utah State, who just won the conference championship. You got to compete against San Jose State, who's building something pretty nice with Brett Brennan out there. And then in the division that Hawaii is in, you also got to compete against San Diego State, who is building a brand new stadium as we speak, along with the fact I think they went 11-2, 11-3 this season under Brady Hoke, who was the head coach at Michigan. And then you got to think about, hey, you're not going to be fed 3 meals a day. Who knows if you can even use the weight room facilities, right? Things like that. And then compare their facilities to a place like UNLV. So UNLV has had a really horrible football program since they've had a football program. They've had a couple good seasons under John Robinson and Bill Ireland. They had that one bowl season where they went to a bowl game but lost under Bobby Hawk. But their facilities was always mid-average to below average. I'm a graduate of UNLV, so I'll explore the camp. I've had the opportunity to explore the campus, and I've had the opportunity to explore their new Fertitta football complex. It is a beautiful facility. So basically, how it's built is there's a football field. There's 2 big football fields next to each other. Then the building is right next to it. It's adjacent, so you can walk from the football field right into the building. On the first floor of the building, there's this huge weight room area that's the equivalent of 4 to 6 basketball courts, full-size regulation NBA basketball courts. The squat racks, benches, dumbbells, whatever you need, right, is all right there for you to use. And then you walk from there straight into the post-workout area. You can get your snacks, your fruits, your smoothies, whatever you need to kind of recover. And then you kind of walk around this hallway. You can head to the locker room. There's a barber shop if you would like, a game room, or there's a recovery center with state-of-the-art pools and hot tubs and whatever you need to kind of get your body right. And then you can exit right onto the field right there. It's all conveniently located for the players to get their workout and their football responsibilities done. Upstairs is multiple meeting rooms. There's a huge one for the team. Then there's the offensive and defensive meeting rooms. There's then the position group rooms. Then there's the position coaches and head coaches office in that same kind of area, along with a cafeteria, an academic room, and a whole bunch of other small and neat kind of things, all located within this building, again, for the ease of the players. And then on top of that, the rest of the campus, the farthest distance that you need to go for class is at most a 15 to 20-minute walk. I know I've walked it before. It's very easy to get to. And if you have a scooter, you can get there within 5 to 10 minutes to basically anywhere. UH is a very spread out campus. It's very hard to find parking. I remember I had some friends that moved into the dorm, so I went to go visit them. I had to park in this random neighborhood. Like, I had no idea who these people were. I parked in this random neighborhood. I couldn't find parking anywhere else, so we walked all the way up to these old-fashioned dorms that are very cramped. They're at like this weird angle. There's no AC. There's no like convenience to get anywhere. It's kind of backwards, to be honest. And you have to compare that to a place like UNLV, who not only has improved the facilities, but also they play at Allegiant Stadium. UH doesn't even have, like I said, a proper stadium, right? They're just using Clarence T.C. Ching, which I've been to before. It's a nice field. It's not world class or anything, but how do you expect to compete with these other programs? And that's why I think it's going to be hard to replace Coach Graham with somebody of his resume if they decide to move on from him. The last kind of thing I want to touch upon is if the state of Hawaii expects the University of Hawaii football program to remain, they got to figure out a way to fund it. UH athletics has been in the red for a very long time. And they used a lot of their Sugar Bowl money to kind of fix the facilities, but that was what, 11, 12, 13 years ago? Those things have run down. Now obviously that money has, gone away. And if UH wants to improve the program, they need to make another New Year's Six bowl game. Is Coach Graham the guy to take them there? I don't know. Pardon me. I don't know. But what I do know is it's going to be kind of hard to attract that kind of coach with the facilities that you have right now. I mean, I remember the horror stories during the 2007 season, like Coach Brennan saying that they don't even have soap, or I mean, there would be torn upholstery on the weight machines and weight belts lifting belts that don't work. The lockers are horrible. I remember on the interview, it was either Abe or his brother Solomon, Eli Minion, who said that when recruits come in, they just take them to the beach because there's nothing really to look at inside the university. But the thing that sets Hawaii football apart from a lot of things in the nation is the culture. And that's something Graham needs to kind of assimilate with, but more importantly, the fan culture. And I've had a lot of good memories, watching UH football games. I don't have a lot of games I watch, but I have a few, and, pulling up into the lot and, all the families, right? Pulling out the grills and the poke and the taco and, fire out the burgers and fried fish and, right, steaks on the grill, right? Everyone's eating and drinking and partying and having a good time. They're walking across the bridge into the stadium, watching a good football game, and then just having a really fun time with family. That's a great joy and a phenomenal memory. Fantastic memory that I have. I remember the UNLV game. I wrote about it, right? I went to the stadium. I was so excited. UH came out flat, came back. UNLV took the lead. UH scored on a last-second touchdown to Marcus Kemp. Everyone was going crazy. Good fun, right? I was fortunate enough. I got to be at the last fan-attended football game in Omaha Stadium for UH, which was the Hawaii Bowl against BYU. Right? I remember I was sitting at the sideline on the end zone. Across was the other end zone where BYU was trying to score. I remember Zach Wilson jumped, he propelled like a propeller. He just flipped into the end zone, fumbled. Hawaii got the ball, right? I got to see all these cool players, and it's just a good time. And tailgating and kind of that pre-football tradition is an integral part of Hawaii football culture. I don't understand how the university plans to allow that with the main parking being in a garage. You can't really have a tailgate in a garage. And that smoke would just fill up the place. And the university and the state legislature hasn't really addressed these concerns, at least to a point where I'm satisfied. If they have like a designated spot where people can tailgate and park and then they'll bus fans in. Okay, maybe that can work. Or, I've had the opportunity to speak with a lot of guys and a lot of Hawaii football fans on Twitter, right? And they've been saying that maybe like a top floor of the garage, but unfortunately that won't please everyone. And I'm not sure exactly what the plan is. What I do know is that if they want the fans to come back, especially post-COVID, to me, it doesn't really matter what's going on with Todd Graham, because if they lose, they're not coming anyway. And if they win, a lot of things will be forgiven. What won't be acceptable is if the environment is less than what it was at Aloha Stadium, which is not saying a lot because Aloha Stadium wasn't popping or flashing. It was just a fun place to be. And I don't see this university or the state legislature taking any steps to kind of bring back that vibe. So kind of just to wrap everything up, here's where I sit on everything. I thought the hearing was a sham, that they needed to address important issues, and they didn't. They tried to paint Graham as a monster without, looking. They wanted to kind of deal with surface level issues and not touch the root of said issues. I think another thing that we need to question is the reason why a lot of these players leaving because of Coach Graham, or is the reason why Nick Martin went to Cincinnati, Laulu went to Oklahoma, Musau went to UCLA, because these programs offer the facilities that can get them to the next level and to actually take care of these players. I definitely I will definitely hope that they will talk about that during the next legislative meeting. But as I was saying, Graham might be a problem. If any of these things are true, he does need to be fired. I want to make that very clear. I'm not saying that he should be allowed to keep his job. However, from what was reported, it didn't seem like it was something that I wouldn't hear at a Hawaii high school football game on the sideline, to be honest. Again, needs to be investigated. The state needs to ask themselves an honest question. One, are they truly willing to buy the contract, or are they just blowing hot air up everyone's bum? Or are they serious? Where would they get that money from? Why haven't they used that money towards the facilities in the first place? Two, who would they replace him with? Do they have the money to replace him with? And would they even want to be there? And lastly, how are they going to bring the fans back to the stadium when COVID keeps on going up? The restrictions seem to be shoddy at best and changed at any moment, along with the fact that TC Ching is going to be the home for UH football for it seems to be a while, unless they can get some kind of deal with the stadium done quickly, which again, it's Hawaii, so I highly doubt. So a lot of things to think about. Those are some of my viewpoints on things. Thank you guys so much for listening. Please leave your comments below or on Twitter. We'll be engaging with fans 24/7 as much as I can. I want to remind everybody about our financial campaign. Basically, for every dollar you donate to us via either our GoFundMe or our Venmo, you'll get an entry put into a raffle. We will select one name from that raffle. That person will get a article written about any sports topic that they want and the opportunity to come onto the show if they would like, along with the fact that anybody who donates will get a shout out at the end of the month from Midnight Sports Today. So thank you guys so much. There's also a GoFundMe to buy out Todd Graham's contract. If you want to donate to that, it's by this guy named Travis. His Twitter name is El Chibo, ELCHIBO. Once again, ELCHIBO. You just look that up on Twitter. You go down to his GoFundMe, click on that. The first thing that's going to pop up is the Todd Graham Ballot Fund. He is going to donate the money to UH Athletics. So if you want to participate in a funny way to help the university out, he's doing that. For mine, my Twitter handle is MNS Today. MNS Today at Twitter. If you look in the pinned tweet, that's where our GoFundMe is. Like I said, once again, I appreciate you guys listening, and I hope to hear from you guys soon. Thanks. Bye-bye.